So when I was looking for the build sheet, I checked underneath the rear seat, and that was where it was on my 68. So after posting a message on news groups and asking about build sheets, people were saying that the build sheet could literally be anywhere in the car, right? Some people are saying that it could be under the headliner, it could be under the carpet. Some people reported it's in the trunk, underneath the trunk liner. It could be anywhere. And so someone said, why don't you check the front seat, right? And because the front seat was caved in on one side, I just checked the driver's and there was nothing underneath there. But now that I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with this car, but I at least have to take the interior out to see how bad the floor is. I took a look under the front passenger side, and I saw something interesting. So I'm just going to turn the camera over, and we're going to look underneath the front passenger seat and see what we see. And as you can notice, there's the build sheet. So we're going to determine if this interior is original, because it's supposed to be gold and yet it is red or burgundy. So let's take the front seat out. It might as well just take all the whole interior out and then take a look at the build sheet, and then of course try to assess damage on the floor and the floor pan. All right. So finally able to take a look at the build sheet that was in the car, and by closely zooming in on the numbers, we find that this build sheet is not from this car. So this interior is not from this car either. But if you take a look at that VIN code DH23K5, so the D Dodge Monaco 5, 1975 Monaco, where did that car come from? I don't know, but it's color LA2. So this came from a 1975 silver Dodge Monaco with a red interior with a whole bunch of options. So you see, all these were not hooked up, but these are options that are for the passenger side detection, so you can determine if the passenger side seatbelt on. So this is a well-equipped Dodge, and who knows where that car is, because it wasn't in the property, and I'm not sure. And this car doesn't have all that wiring, so this wasn't even hooked up. So this car is clearly, this interior rather is clearly not with this car. So this is the original sales invoice for this car, right? So dated 1980. This car had a gold color, gold trim, and a brown vinyl top. And so this car doesn't have any of that anymore. So we have a 1972 400 engine. We have a 1975 Dodge Monaco engine from some car that got gutted. And in 1980, this car was gold, brown, and gold. And even looking underneath, I saw signs of a trailer hitch. So that means that this car was loved. This car was used. It was used. It was loved. People put work and effort into it. Obviously, no one would put work into a car that has all these rust problems. So when this car was parked, 20, 30 years ago, this car was in great condition. And it was just abandoned. And sadly now it's going to take a lot more effort to bring this car back up into a running condition than it was left. But anyways, that's the story of this car. Nothing is original, and it is what it is. Okay, so we got the interior apart, carpet is out, and then we can get a good look at this floor. So I don't know if you can see that, but we got some obvious problems with the floor. What a shame, because you can see that the the middle is so nice, and then that's it. So that's pretty typical for Dodge. So what's the conclusion here? Well, so we got some problems, and some problems are easier to fix than others. First of all, there's no parts for this thing. C-bodies, you can't get replacement floor panels like you can Challenger or Charger, right? So the only way that you can get a floor pan is either you make it yourself or you get a donor car, where in Canada, that's not happening. So this is as good as it gets. But the main issue is also not only is it the floors which are gone, it's also these sub panels here. So this panel here essentially extends from one side of the rocker to the other, and that's where you mount you bolt your seats to, and also you bolt your back of your frame, right? So this car is half unibody and half front stub frame, right? So it's basically mounted. I mean, you can see here because it's all open. So it's mounted to probably some heavy bracketry, which is welded to the cowl, and that is what pivots the whole engine transmission combo. And then essentially it's just bolted to the back here, so it's stable, right? And that way the car doesn't fling around. So that's gone, right? So that panel is gone. Not only the floors, but the panel, and then whatever. But the main issue is that whatever heavy bracketry that is, it's exposed. It looks like it's starting to rot. This side looks better, but who knows, right? And that's what's keeping the car from folding in half, right? Pivoting on that super strong bracketry, right? Even with this thing gone, the car still hasn't folded in half, because the rockers, surprisingly enough, the rockers are actually pretty strong, right? So the back half of the car hasn't imploded because the rockers are super good, and the front half of the car hasn't folded up because the pivot points in the back are still good. So to repair this, how are you going to repair this, right? I can't form this panel. I don't have any tools. I don't have any forming metal tools, right? This is not the same garage I was working with my Charger in. So, even then, I probably couldn't do that. So there's no parts available. There's nothing available. So I'm starting to think that this is just a parts car, sadly. Right? I can't fix that. But 74 Monaco, the front header is valuable. The bumpers are valuable. Fenders, what's left of them, is valuable. Windshield, believe it or not made again. So that's priceless. Excuse me. Rear bumper, rear tail panel, right? So the value of this car, just in parts alone, if you're building a Bluesmobile or if you're restoring another car, it's got to be about $2,000 worth of parts, right? Plus an interior that's relatively good, right? So sadly, I don't think it's going to be fixed. At least I can't fix it. So, parts car? Anyone?